I kind of like to stand here. One of them threw the cucumber at the researcher. Had a very scandalous title, Envy is covetous while jealousy is possessive. People rarely admit to it. You needed a signal that something important was slipping away. Okay, so before we start, I feel like I ought to give an introduction. Hi, my name is Ritu Chaudhary. I'm a final year undergrad at NITK. I have almost graduated, and I would also like to state the disclaimer that I am no psychology or neuroscience expert. This is going to be a layman's understanding and opinions video. And I will be taking you guys for a walk around my campus. My campus is divided into two parts. There's the eastern side and the western side. A highway runs in the middle. We will mostly be sticking with the western side because वहाँ पे कम लोग होते हैं. So yeah, come along. Okay, so this is my hostel. Before we go any further into the video, I would like to distinguish between envy and jealousy. I know I've used jealousy in the title because it's more commonly used, but the topic of our video is envy, which is the pain you feel when someone else has what you want, as compared to jealousy, which is the pain you feel when you fear you will lose something you already have. Envy is covetous while jealousy is possessive. We are talking about envy today. Okay, now I'm crossing this tunnel that takes us to the western side. It's underground. Almost there. Okay, and I have been feeling twinges of envy, partly because I feel I will be joining the workforce and will start earning, and I think it sets in more prevalently when you start earning because you get the sense that this most probably is your permanent life and you would not be able to change much about it. So the comparison feels even more significant, and it's also interesting because people rarely admit to it, even to their own selves. Unlike sadness or anger that people openly express, envy is also uniquely self-incriminating in the sense that it reveals that you feel bad about your position as compared to someone else's. It's also morally looked down upon. There is this sense that if you feel envious, you are not a good person, which is quite contradictory to the background that everyone feels it and we have it since ancient times. It's in us by design. As to answer the question that why did evolution need it, evolutionary psychologists believe that envy was developed in us as alarm mechanism in ancestral environments where resources like food, territory were limited and physical strength was very important. These resources and traits signal power and safety, and that translates to mating success, and every organism wants to survive individually, so they need food, and they want to survive as a species, so they need to mate. Falling behind a competitor could literally mean that you won't survive. It could be fatal. So in those environments, you needed a signal that something important was slipping away, and envy was that signal. This is the CAC department building. It's one of the departments situated on the western side. Now we are near the EC department building, which is my department. This is the south wing entrance and the north wing entrance. Another aspect to envy is that relative position means more than absolute value, meaning that if you are in a competitive group, it doesn't matter if you have enough food, it matters if you have more than your rival group, because more food is more safety. And envy facilitates that positional awareness, and it exists in other species too. There was a landmark 2003 study conducted with capuchin monkeys where the researcher gave two together living monkeys cucumber slices, and then they did their tasks happily. But if they gave one of them a grape, which was a more desirable treat, the other monkey protested by not accepting the cucumber, and one of them threw the cucumber at the researcher. So the cucumber was fine before, it became unacceptable when it became unequal. This is what researchers call inequity aversion. This is the lecture hall complex. I have had most of my lectures here. Another interesting finding was that inequity aversion exists in species that cooperate. Species that do not cooperate don't seem to have it, which makes sense because relative positions can only exist in social hierarchies. Okay, so now we are going over the bridge. This is the IT department's building. That again is an extension of the EC building, the southern one. Another very interesting study had a very scandalous title. It is called "When Your Gain is My Pain and Your Pain is My Gain," in which they looked at the brain scans of university students in Japan who were reading fictional literature about 3 characters. One of them was their target and was superior to them and was in the same field. So stuff like age, gender, few of these matched with that target person. There was another person who was superior but was in a different field, and there was this third character who was not superior, not relevant. And the brain scans revealed that a person would feel greater activation in the part of the brain that processes pain when they read about the target person who was superior to them and in the same field whenever this person achieves something. And if the person was suffering a loss, they would also feel a proportional amount of joy, and there would be activation in the part of the brain that processes rewards. Not just that, you could also predict the activation intensity in the reward processing part of the brain from how intensely the person felt envious of his target when he was gaining success. How envious you feel of someone depends on how superior they are, but you also don't feel envy randomly. It's specific to your goals and identity. You compare yourself to people who are your age, your gender, or had similar circumstances to you at some point in their lives. I don't know if you guys can hear or see. Wait, I will show you guys the highway. So this is the highway below us with automobiles zipping past. I kind of like to stand here in the middle of the highway. It's beautiful. This is the entrance, but no one really uses this entrance. And this is the lecture hall complex that we just came back from. Another interesting study was one in which they tried to distinguish benign envy from malicious envy. And the subjects that they took for the study were from 3 different cultures, were from Spain, USA, and Netherlands. And Netherlands in particular was interesting because the Dutch language has 2 different words for these 2 types of envies. So benign envy is when you get motivated to pull yourself up after seeing someone else perform better. And malicious envy is when you want to tear them down. And the researchers were able to show that you feel benign envy if you feel like the person deserved the success, and you feel malicious envy if you feel that they did not deserve to get the success that they got. Another thing that intensified benign envy was whether or not you feel like your own circumstances are changeable, which goes back to my point of after starting a job not feeling like there's much that you can change about your life, which intensifies the unpleasant feeling that comes with comparing yourself to others of envy. I think that covers pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry I don't have any concluding remarks. I just wanted to put whatever I read and felt out. Thank you for watching.